My name's Lebo. Well, my name's Dan Lebowitz, but everyone calls me Lebo. I live in San Francisco. I've moved here in 1998. The main band I play in is called ALO. 3 of the 4 of us have played together since we were 12 years old. We've been playing ever since then. We went to school together down in Santa Barbara, and then when we moved to San Francisco, we all moved here and jumped right in head first. The reason I moved to San Francisco was because of music. I grew up in the Bay Area, down in the South Bay actually, and I went to college down in Santa Barbara at UCSB. I studied music down there and was always super into music. I knew music is what I wanted to do, and I used to sneak up to San Francisco every weekend I could while I was living in Santa Barbara, just because all the bands that I loved were playing around here. We did our show, I guess it was March 7th, I believe. We had plans to head out of town that following Wednesday. The funny thing I remember that night was that people were not hugging like they usually do, because they're like, well, we can't hug because there's this coronavirus thing going around. But everyone was high-fiving and packed together like sardines, and that didn't seem to matter. So it just goes to show like how little we really knew yet. It all so suddenly changed, right? Like suddenly by Tuesday, our New York and Pacific Northwest plans were all canceled. And I think at that time, like everyone else, we just thought, oh, it's just going to be for a couple months, you know, and we actually worked on rescheduling shows, got them on the books. And then sure enough, as we got closer to those ones, we kicked them down the line again, and then kicked them down the line again, as everyone was doing. Never in our wildest dreams did we think a year later we would still have all the shows canceled or postponed. It's interesting, you would think that I would have played less music because normally I'm touring all the time, but it turns out that when you're not jumping in buses and vans and airplanes, you actually have more time with your instrument. So I had a lot of time to just like play my instrument. I did a show in the Mission on Valencia Street at the chapel. It was a couple nights at the chapel in their outdoor stage area, which is on the side. And they do it really safely. They have this whole dinner show with tables set up, spaced out and everything. To be on stage and just looking at a crowd of real people, like my appreciation for playing for humans in front of me as opposed to just playing for the back of a camera or something, it's like, it warms my heart so much. It's like to be reminded of that. Because surely when I started performing for people back in 7th grade, that moved me then, but over the years, you sort of move away from certain things. You take things for granted, you know what I mean? To be able to just have that taken away and then return to it, it's like, oh wow, that's like the most elemental things are the most important things we have. The scheduling is definitely giving me hope for the future. I see case numbers, overall going down with vaccinations becoming available. I'm really excited that I just got my 2nd vaccination. So I'm psyched to get back to it. I have a lot of musician friends who are on the same schedule as me or just behind me or just ahead of me. And there's a whole buzz going on, like all the music venues, the promoters, the managers, the musicians, everybody's talking a ton right now. It's days full of phone calls and emails, and it's very exciting. There's a lot coming up. And if we can stay on track with this and people can do these last few steps safely, I don't see why we can't return to it, to having shows the way we used to, but people need to do it right. So it's really important that you all wear your masks, that you all get vaccinated, and that you follow all the safety protocols of social distancing so we can get back to doing what we do.